Morning, what's going on there, guys? It is good afternoon. It is the Earthmaster here on this Sunday, December 19th, 2021, about 12:22 p.m. California time. Latest quake on the globe is a 2.9 earthquake up into the Alaska region. There has been some earthquake activity overnight, including a large 6.3 earthquake down here in Fiji. Pretty shallow earthquake for this region, just on the north side of the Fiji area. Within this horseshoe bend area southward is where we see all that deeper movement. The deepest earthquake activity recorded on Earth is taking place here within this region of Fiji, and that's kind of where we've been seeing some activity over the last week. Go ahead and pull this up. You can see that deep movement kicking up here. Look at all these depths of some of these earthquakes, 572 kilometers for 5.7, and so on. As we work our way down the list, you can see a lot of deep activity. So all that deeper movement, of course, contributing to some surface earthquaking up here to the north, like we're seeing today with that 6.3 at 10 kilometers. Some activity throughout the Indonesia region, stretching up into northern China, where we've seen a 5.5. And also right around the Bangkok area, 5.3, well off the coast of Bangkok, around the India area, 5.3 at 10 kilometers, and a little bit of earthquake activity stretching out throughout the Indonesia area, but things kind of just spreading out in that fashion since the deep earthquake activity struck within the past week. We haven't seen any further movement up north, though. It's still kind of what I'm watching for up along this trench region south of Tokyo. We did see a little 4.6, pretty shallow earthquake at 10 kilometers. Further up north, deeper trench earthquake around the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench with a 4.4 at 121.8 kilometers for that earthquake. Areas to the east or to the west in the Mediterranean and the Middle East area all looking pretty quiet. No further movement, at least according to the USGS here on this map. This earthquake down here in the South Sandwich Islands, 5.0, 35 kilometers. Some activity in the South America region as well, with some earthquakes right around the Peru-Chile Trench and Bolivia. Seen some deeper earthquake activity, including a 4.5 at 211.5 kilometers. Some further movement up to the north as well around Peru with a 4.1. Let's see here. Not a whole lot going on around the Puerto Rico area within the last 24. Around the U.S. Virgin Islands, a 3.1. Looks like about 7 kilometers. Pretty shallow earthquake for that region. The Puerto Rico Trench looks pretty quiet for now. And a little earthquake off the coast of El Salvador, a 4.1 into the Middle America Trench here. Subduction zone quake, 102 kilometers for that 4.1. Up here in the States, some activity ramping up. Of course, we had that earthquake out in Arizona yesterday. Winslow, West Arizona, 5 kilometers for a 3.0, which was felt over in that state by a few folks. Looks like the map shows us right around Winslow. It doesn't look like any reports from Flagstaff area, but a few folks around that epicenter area reported feeling it. Looks like Sedona, Arizona as well reported feeling that 3.0. A little bit of activity still kind of kicking up in the Gulf of California and Southern California region, 4.8. In the Gulf at looks like about 10 kilometers for that earthquake. And some activity kicking up around the Ridgecrest area as well. Overnight, they had a 3.1 kick up around the Coso Junction, kind of just south of the volcanic field out there. Of course, this area seen that earthquake activity a couple years ago. July 4th, July 5th sequence of earthquakes. Although this activity up here, a little bit outside of the fracture zone in the little swarming area itself, right outside the Coso volcanic range. Looking at the satellite imagery in this area, of course you can see no doubt some prominent features of past volcanic activity within this range. You can see all these craters and whatnot indicating lots of historical past volcanic activity. Looking at the map here, it shows about 19 earthquakes within the last 24 hours, and pretty shallow depths here, all over. Looks like about 2 to 3 kilometers below the surface. A couple of them a little bit more shallower. So I'm going to watch this area right up to the north here. The fracture zone from the Ridgecrest earthquakes a couple years ago runs about from this tip here down to this region, maybe a little bit further. It's about right from one end to the other. So this area outside of there is a little bit on the suspicious side. I'm not for sure about any specific fault systems out there. The map here, the fault system map from the USGS, we'll go ahead and check this out and see if we can get a little bit better detail of the fault structure within that region north of Ridgecrest and right around the Coso volcanic Coso volcanic field. I'll jump in there and double check that. Since the USGS does not really show a whole lot of fault systems here on this map, here's this clutter of fault systems: the Airport Lake Fault, or Little Lake Fault Zone, but specifically up around this area north, right around this lake, Rose Valley. So you got the Coso volcanic range up here to the north. Let me see here. It looks like it's just outside of that zone to the south. See, I'm just not seeing a whole lot of well-defined marked faults in this map here. This one's a little bit more detailed when it comes to picking out the fault systems. I just don't see it right there. Maybe potentially this area right here, but unnamed faults in the Coso range. All I know is this activity is pretty close, and looking at the satellite map, obviously some volcanic activity there in the past. So keeping an eye on that region there. I don't think it's volcanic, but of course a lot of stuff underneath the surface there could be having some earthquake activity due to the features underground. Moving on into parts of what do we got out here around Barstow? 1.5, 3.3 kilometers for that earthquake. Some activity kicking up along the San Jacinto fault area overnight. Salton Sea and the Imperial or the Brawley seismic zone remains quiet today. Working our way up north, seeing a little bit of migration along the creeping section of the San Andreas fault. Creeping section, some microquakes kicking off there within that region. And forgot my coffee somewhere. I'll have to get that here in just a second. It's a cold, foggy day here in Northern California, so kind of just been sipping on some coffee and enjoying the morning for the most part. What do we got here around the Bishop area northward? Some movement, 2.3 near Tom's Place. Of course, Long Valley supervolcano sits within this region here. A lot of volcanic activity within this volcanic tablelands as well. A couple microquakes kicking off there. Tonopah region getting in on a little bit of activity across the Candelaria Hills, where I visited that region last year. I believe it was last year. Up north, Cascadia, all areas northward look pretty quiet. We did see some further movement, though, off the coast of Washington, just off the coast here, within the, well, this is definitely Cascadia earthquake due to the depth here, 36 kilometers, indicating that depth into the subduction zone, a 2.1 striking overnight within that region. I want to show you guys the tremor activity along the Cascadia has really picked up along the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone here, with 284 epicenters of tremor activity. That was yesterday. Today, we'll check that out a little bit later on. And then prior to that, we had some further activity into the southern end with 175 epicenters. So things kind of kicking up in a dramatic way down here at the southern end of the Cascadia. And kind of a big jump in amount of numbers compared to almost a month of no activity at all in the tremor department. Throughout the Yellowstone area, had a little earthquake activity yesterday with a 2.5 near Silver Gate, Montana. That earthquake did show up on some of the seismograph stations here. These distinct earthquake marks. And prior to that, I mean, at least after that, I'm not seeing any further earthquake activity. Looks like maybe some around Maple Creek. That always seems to be the hot spot when it comes to picking up microquakes there. Looks like a couple localized individual microquakes, but overall things pretty calm there at Yellowstone with only a handful of quakes throughout the region. Normally we see a pretty good amount of earthquakes around the Idaho region and all up through Montana. That has since dramatically stopped with no earthquakes there to report in that region today at all on the all magnitudes map. A little earthquake out in the Illinois area, St. Louis. Well, east of St. Louis, 2.4 near Junction City, Illinois. Did I say Illinois? Hopefully I didn't. Illinois. I don't want to get slaughtered. You can kind of tell. Well, I don't want to say, but Illinois, I got it. It's weird because I went to school out there in Ohio when I was younger, right around the Columbus area. And I learned the states out there. You'd think I would remember that. But then again, being out here in California for so long, just kind of forget about the correct pronunciations here. Anyway, St. Louis, 2.4 near Junction City at 12.5 kilometers. Not a whole lot of earthquake activity taking place within this region, but of course, got the New Madrid zone. There is some fault systems out here. I'm not for sure if the USGS covers it or not on their fault system map. See if we can get this to key up here. I don't see it. Well, there's a little bit of activity on this map here within this region. Looks like the St. Louis Cape. Yeah, this not even going to go that direction. Liquefaction features. Ooh, that can't be a good sign. I have to look a little bit more into detail about this area when it comes to the activity here in this zone. I'll cover that a little bit more later on this evening. But no doubt the New Madrid zone sits to the south there. Looking at the USGS map shows pretty quiet activity within that zone. Only a 2.3 there around the Arkansas region. What is that, Quitman? Arkansas, 3.2 kilometers for that earthquake right around the Boston Mountains and the this lake out here. What else we got? Moving up to the Alaska region, where we have seen a pretty significant uptick in earthquake activity towards the not only the southern part here. Let's go ahead and go with the 2.5 and above. You can see some 3-pointers, mid threes kicking up here into northern Alaska, northwest of Fairbanks, and also outside of the Cook Inlet region. They had a 4.5. This one's pretty deep, folks, 165 kilometers. You got the North American Pacific Plate subduction zone here within this region. It's pretty significant, not a large quake, but it's definitely a deep, notable quake for this area. And you can definitely see seismic pressure increase in this region specifically, with also some earthquake activity ramping up here towards the areas down south here around the Juneau area. Some of this activity within this range, pretty shallow, 6 kilometers for the majority of those small earthquakes down there in that region. So kind of keeping an eye on the Alaska area today with that heightened movement, not only at the subduction zone level, but further north and inland into northern Alaska. All right, folks. We will be back a little bit later. Just enjoying the day, like I mentioned. Hopefully, everyone's enjoying their weekend. Of course, Monday is tomorrow. It seems to come pretty quickly. We will chat at you guys a little bit later. Stay safe out there, everyone. Have a great day. Peace out.